Hello and welcome to Film Favs. I'm Justin Grohl. I am VTV's internal director and resident movie buff. Today I am joined by.
Tommy Michaels, and I am also here.
That's great. Great to have you. Um,
Right.
so, Tommy, Big T as
Big
you are
T,
known.
as many go by, or many call me.
Many go by Big T. That's
No,
stealing your thunder.
there's only one.
Only one of you?
Of course.
Yeah. So I'd like to note, we're doing something a little bit different this episode due to our limited resources this week. It's only going to be the one camera this episode. We're currently, VTV is filming the Big East tournament right now. Go Cats. So, yeah.
Yeah, the 3 cameras couldn't handle me, so we're just sticking with one.
Yeah. I guess shout out to the sports department when that video ends up coming out. So let's get started here.
All right.
So let's hop into the weekend's box office. Taking the top spot this weekend, Kung Fu Panda 4 coming out.
Oh.
Followed them
Classic.
by Dune 2, staying on top.
Still need to see that, and the first one.
Followed by Imaginary, the Blumhouse movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I heard about that.
I heard it was mid, along with Kung Fu Panda 4.
I did also hear that, which is sad.
Dune
because
Part 2, though, I did see. Thought it was great.
I really want to see it.
Yeah.
It looks good.
So,
So,
other movie news.
okay.
Some big important stuff happened this past weekend.
Really?
Yeah, the Oscars.
Oh,
happened.
yeah. I forgot about that.
You forgot about that? We watched it together.
I wasn't myself that night.
Oh
Kidding.
my gosh.
Kidding. I was sober for the Oscars.
Yeah. So the big takeaways. We had some very expected wins. We had Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Divine, Joy Randolph. All winning their acting. Oppenheimer coming out on top with 7 wins.
It was like they kind of had a late recovery, I feel like.
I mean, yeah, the early ones, I feel like they didn't have much of a chance in.
Yeah.
Production design and, like, costumes, all that kind of stuff. I feel like they're not winning because you had Barbie and Poor Things come out, and both were very
Yeah.
much focused on that. And so Poor Things came out on top with all those.
Poor Things did very well.
Poor Things had 4 wins, I believe. It
Okay.
had all the style stuff,
Yeah.
along with Emma Stone beating out Lily Gladstone in the tightest race probably of award season.
Yeah, I was not expecting that just based on like the general consensus I'd seen online. I really thought that Lily was going to win, but I mean, I'm sure it was a good performance. I really need to watch Poor Things. That was like the biggest takeaway for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, watch Poor Things soon.
Yeah, and then just some other things. Wes Anderson won his first Oscar with
Oh,
a short
yeah.
film, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. The Zone of Interest won Best Sound Design.
Yeah, I remember you were surprised it wasn't Oppenheimer, right?
I was, but I've come to understand why it won, and I think it was the right choice.
Okay.
Because that movie relies on sound more than
Right,
Oppenheimer.
Hmm.
I won't get into why. Watch it for yourself and be depressed.
Right.
Yeah. And then Barbie only with 1 win.
Yeah,
With Billie
I
Eilish's
expected that.
expected win in the sound and not sound song.
I loved Barbie, but like, I mean, it was just a tight race. It was very competitive this year, so I see why it didn't work out.
Yeah, and Boy and the Heron won Best
Yeah.
Animated over Spider-Man, which I predicted.
I feel like that was generally expected, but I did see a lot of clamoring for Spider-Man.
I mean, people were also clamoring that Spider-Man 2 deserved Game of the Year.
Yeah, that's
It's the same people.
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
It was a fun game, but had some problems.
I mean, you got Baldur's Gate coming out this year. You're not winning.
God, Baldur's Gate.
But yeah, also probably 2 of the biggest moments in the night. John Mulaney had the biggest joke bringing down the
Oh,
house with
yeah.
his Madam Web.
No, that was really good. That got me.
and also just explaining Field of Dreams,
Oh my,
which
I
was
forgot about
which was
that, yeah.
awesome. So yeah, he should host next year.
That would be great.
I mean, he did the Correspondence Dinner, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah,
or
I saw clips from that.
something like that. Yeah, for the Oscars. And And then Ryan Gosling
Oh,
performing
my
"I'm Just
God.
Ken."
That I was blown away.
Obviously,
They did a great job. I also was surprised they had the other Kens on stage too.
I know I was surprised that like the actual actor Kens were there and
Like,
not like just not just
Yeah.
like dancers.
I was really impressed that they were like pulled that off. It was really good. Him singing with like bringing the mic up to Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig was really
and
funny.
Emma Stone,
Oh yeah, and Emma Stone.
who was not prepared. And then Martin Scorsese just having the time of his life.
Oh yeah, I did see that video earlier today. That was really funny.
And you know, it's that performance that just made me wonder, how do you give this? How does this lose if this is such an impactful song? Everyone loves it.
Yeah, I remember we were all joking like, what if they switch the winner last second just
Yeah.
because they saw that performance?
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I want to talk about for Oscars. Award season's over now.
Yeah,
I mean, the big awards. I think there's a few. I think like
probably.
Director Guild is coming up. I think.
know. Interested to see what awards are like next year.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it's way too soon to say.
Way too soon, but Dune 2 I think is up there.
Yeah.
I mean, the last one did so well at the Oscars.
Did it?
Yeah.
I remember it was nominated for like Best Picture, but did it take home a lot of wins?
It took the sound, it took score, it took
Okay.
cinematography. It took a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you also had some news that you wanted to discuss.
Yes. I'm looking at the poster for the first film now, but it was announced that a sequel to the Mario Brothers animated movie that released last year was being developed. Director's coming back, whole cast going back. And as a big Nintendo guy, I'm very excited for that. I really liked the first one. I think the plot could have been a little deeper. But
I
for
agree.
what it was great. And people forget it was the second highest grossing film of 2023.
What was number one?
I mean, Barbie, but
I think Oppenheimer was like third or something, or maybe fifth or something.
yeah, because I know Mario crossed the $1 billion
Yeah,
line.
Mario did.
Mario
I think
and
Oppenheimer's
Barbie,
still going.
Oppenheimer was like 900 million.
I think it's getting a re-release somewhere, and I think it's gonna cross.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, that's kind of cheating, but
I mean,
I'll allow it.
Avatar did it.
They did it for Avatar.
Avengers did it.
They should do it for Avengers, so Avengers takes number one again.
I'm okay with Avatar being on top.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah. And another brief news: Venom 3 announced their title.
Venom.
Venom. It is now going to be called Venom: The Last Dance.
The Last Dance.
So Michael
That's
Jordan will be
interesting.
making an appearance as Venom. He will be Duncan on Tom Hardy and anyone else who appears.
Yeah, I am a little bit interested. I know all the Sony Marvel movies, especially recently, have kind of stunk. If we're acting like Spider-Verse movies weren't created by Sony.
I mean, yeah, like, well, it's Sony Animation versus Sony live action is completely different. I would say,
Yeah,
and the
haven't
talent behind them
seen-
is different.
I haven't seen the first two Venom movies, but I can say that I love them without even seeing them, just from clips I see online. But it is interesting because I see little rumblings going around that there could be like a Spider-Man in there.
Yeah, but they say that about every Sony
That
film
is
so
also
so that
true.
people come and watch it.
Like when Morbius had, I think it was
Vulture.
Vulture, but they also had Tobey Maguire Spider-Man on like a poster in the background.
Yeah.
That was like a scene filmed only for the trailers.
Yeah. Dumb. So let's hop into your movie now.
All right.
Oh wow. What could your movie be?
Past lives.
No, it's The Incredibles.
It's The Incredibles.
Remind me again though, what were the other four that were on your list? I believe you had Star Wars Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back was up there.
You had
Back to the Future 2.
Back to the Future 2.
I changed my mind. I originally said 1, but I switched it to 2.
Okay.
I had Avengers Infinity War on the list, but after thinking about it, I'd replace that with Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yeah, that's my favorite one. Sorry.
Okay.
I mean, that's a whole other discussion.
Um
And then also The Exorcist.
Yes, The Exorcist. I believe also Big Hero 6 was also in the running at some point.
Yeah, I changed my mind again. I thought about it for a
Tommy
while.
the Flip Flopper.
I am a flip-flopper. but wearing sneakers. So
All right, so we're here with The Incredibles now. Talk
Yeah.
about that. Why do you like this movie, Tommy? Why? Why?
So I will admit a big part of it is nostalgia. When I was like 3 years old, and my parents like didn't know what to do with me, they would just put Pixar movies on 24/7. So I've seen this movie many times. Although, granted, I probably don't remember a lot of it, but I just think like thinking back to like maybe like 2020 Pixar, and thinking about how special those movies were. Like, I mean, it makes me sad to think about how the quality has kind of dropped off now.
I know.
I haven't personally watched a lot of the recent Pixar movies. I saw Soul and I thought that was good,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen many of the like newer ones. But I just think like there was something so special about Incredibles and how it feels like it was like a parody of superhero movies before superhero movies were like a norm.
Yeah.
Like it feels like something kind of like in the same vein as like The Boys,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like kind of parodying stuff, especially with how like the public in the movie views supers. I think the fact that it like parodied an entire genre before it became a thing was really cool. And I mean, obviously, just it being about superheroes. I'm a big superhero guy, so that was always what made it stand out compared to a lot of the other Pixar movies. And then yeah, also just the characters are a big part of that. They feel like so real, but also at the same time so like animated.
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder why. It's almost like it's an animated movie.
No, but I feel like a lot of the like characters, even though they are like these crazy powerful like superhumans, you could still relate a lot to them with like the family dynamic. I mean, I guess it's a lot more emphasized in the second one. I mean, we could talk about the second one later on, but it is still present in the first one, that like family dynamic they have going. So I just think being able to relate to these characters, even though like they're completely different from us, like I think it's just really cool.
Mm-hmm. Speaking on like the quality, I feel like it's just so interesting how big of a gap we had between Incredibles 1 and Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
And I feel like the problem I have with Incredibles 2 is how good it looks. I think it got too. I feel like the animation got too crisp,
Yeah.
and I feel like it takes away from. Like it looks too good. Like I feel like the old one had, like all old Pixar movies have this like charm to them, because like they weren't perfect, but they were also like it was also good animation.
Yeah. I will say though, like visually the second one looks beautiful.
I mean, yeah.
But it does kind of take away from that charm, and the fact that like when you watch it, you kind of just like I guess you kind of just like in your mind you merge it with every other animated movie that's come out within the past like 10 years.
Yeah. Like I feel like Pixar now has gone so much into like detailed animation,
Yeah,
and I feel like story might have taken a back seat briefly.
I think so.
Like I
too.
think Lightyear is the biggest.
Oh, I did not see Lightyear, but I like after hearing the main twist of that movie, I was really disappointed.
Me too.
I won't spoil it, but
It's so dumb because
That-
it's just so dumb.
yeah, because I was a big Buzz Lightyear fan as a kid too, so that's just kind of disappointing to say.
Yeah,
Also, why did Chris Evans voice him? They could have just gotten Tim Allen.
I know. It's oh well.
Yeah.
But back to Incredibles.
Okay.
So you mentioned that characters were a big part in this.
Yeah.
Are there like a certain character or like a few characters that like really stand out to you as your favorite? Any that you don't like that you think maybe dampens your enjoyment of this movie?
Interesting. So it's funny to think about because when I was a kid, I really liked Dash because like I saw a lot of myself through him being like young and cocky stuff like that.
Running around, running
Yeah.
into walls.
No, that was exactly the kind of kid I was. But looking back on it, and especially with like I just rewatched it this past week, I find myself relating a lot more to Bob. So I guess that's kind of a bad sign of where things are going.
So you're reaching your midlife crisis already?
I guess I'm looking I'm realizing that I will reach that in like a couple years, and that's scary. But yeah, it is interesting, like seeing it from that new angle, kind of like, I guess, just like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just imagining myself more through him. But I didn't necessarily say that they were my favorite characters, because there's Syndrome. Syndrome is great. I love him. He's the best villain in a superhero movie ever.
Yeah. He's also the best Pixar villain, I believe.
Oh, hands down.
Like, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, what... Maybe, like, Randall could be up there, perhaps.
I guess.
Like, I mean...
Well, Randall was just, like, plain evil. Syndrome, like... I mean, his backstory, when you look at it on paper, is kind of dumb.
He's a Redditor.
Yeah, he literally is a Redditor. He's the Riddler from the Batman. Just
with more technology.
Yeah.
And his parents' money.
Exactly. So, yeah, Syndrome's great, and that's another. We're just gonna keep bringing this to how the second one kind of stinks.
Mm-hmm.
What was the villain's name? The Screenslaver.
Yeah, Screenslaver.
That's the big thing that kind of makes Incredibles 2 just like kind of stink compared to the first one.
And
it's the villain.
And that movie has Saul Goodman, like.
That's right. He voices like the brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just that movie not having like a Syndrome level threat, or not even necessarily threat, like
just enjoyment character, like a character who is fun to watch.
Yeah, because Screenslaver is kind of just there.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I think I really appreciate, especially now with like how not even Pixar, just Disney in general, relies a lot on twist villains.
Yeah.
So now, granted, Syndrome also is one.
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say he's a twist villain. I'd say he's more of a revelation villain.
Yeah.
Like, it's only because, like, once we meet him, we realize who he is.
The twist happens relatively early on in the movie.
Yeah, but also we don't meet Syndrome for a long time.
Yeah, and I like what you said, like, when we meet him, we know he's Buddy.
Yeah, like, Mr. Incredible finds out along with us. It's not like he's in the dark.
Yeah, no, so... Like, I think there was, like, one scene where he's talking with Mirage, and you can, like, see some of his face.
You can see his hair.
Yeah, but besides that, like, yeah, we find out when Mr. Incredible finds out, so.
Yeah. Yeah, twist villains, I mean, I think very few have done it well in Pixar, or in Disney in general. Like,
yeah.
I'm thinking right now about Hans from Frozen.
Hans.
I think it would have been nice to know that he was the bad guy earlier on.
Yeah, there's really not a lot of clues. I guess when you look back, it would make sense why he would do that, but
it's like, why not tell the audience this?
Yeah, that got me though. I remember being in theaters and being like, he's the bad guy? And just losing my mind.
Pac-Man's a bad guy?
Oh my gosh.
But you know, I mean, you also had the guy from Up, technically a twist villain.
Oh yeah.
But more like a revelation villain again.
He's just like a scary looking guy, so it's kind of obvious he would be evil.
I don't think any twist villain is gonna beat it's tough. It's between Stinky Pete from Toy Story 2 or Mr. Waternoose from I think Monsters Inc. Mr. Waternoose wins.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Because what's so awesome about that one is that Randall is already the big threat in the movie, and so you're like, oh, okay, we're safe. And when he brings out the Himalayan door, such a twist.
I forgot about that. Yeah, no, that was a good twist. I mean, I think it's been pulled off pretty well.
There's not been stinkers.
Like Incredibles 2 is a stinker.
I mean, yeah, I guess
because Screenslaver doesn't have a personality.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the only point of the Screenslaver is who it ends up being.
Yeah, I don't know. But let's reel back into the Incredibles.
We got into Pixar.
We got into Pixar. Let's go in Pixar.
The Pixar theory.
Oh my goodness.
We're going to talk about that.
No. We might do a Pixar episode. We'll see. But yeah. See, we're talking characters here. You love Syndrome. I love Syndrome. I love a different villain in this movie.
Who do you love?
My favorite character. One of my favorite characters has like maybe 2 minutes of screen time.
Oh my god.
It's Bon Voyage.
Oh, Bon Voyage.
Bon Voyage.
Is it? Oh yeah, Bon Voyage. I completely forgot about him.
Oh my gosh, he's just been ingrained in my
He blows up a wall, walks through with like a Riz look, like
because he's just a mime,
it just does nothing. That was really
and
funny.
he only speaks in French. He's like, "Who are you? Who are you?"
I like on that topic. I will say I love all the like side characters that will either have like no screen time or barely get mentioned. Like Gazer Beam.
Aw.
Gazer Beam's awesome, but he dies. Spoilers.
That's something also I want to touch on. Like, this is a very adult Pixar movie.
Yeah.
This is a dark Pixar movie.
Mr. Incredible hides in bones
There's
to avoid a scanner.
This movie handles death. There's guns everywhere. There's skeletons.
Yeah.
There's we see the whole freaking
The
genocide of
whole,
superheroes.
the Project Chrono scene. I want to talk about that later. 'Cause
Yeah.
I love that scene.
And then like you also got just like the midlife crisis idea.
Yeah.
The toll it takes on like both Helen and Bob being parents and stuff.
Yeah, it has many adult themes that I really didn't pick up on when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Like even among the Pixar movies of that time, it's very adult.
Yeah.
Because like Toy Story, you don't really see as much of that. There's some stuff, but no, it is very adult, and but it's in a way that kids can still enjoy it because they can still enjoy like all the blowing up of robots and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think they found a good balance with that.
100%. Yeah. So any other characters that like you just really enjoy, or Syndrome just shine above all the
Syndrome is
rest?
great. I'm trying to think. Obviously Edna. Edna's iconic.
Edna Mode. Do you know who voices her?
Who voices her?
The director, Brad Bird.
You're kidding, really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
No capes.
Oh, No Capes is great.
Yeah.
Again, something that's very morbid. It shows like all the
The death-
superheroes dying. Like one of them, the cape falling into the engine,
And then
and the callback to that later in the movie is
so
great.
good. No capes.
Yeah, Edna is the moment. She's iconic.
Edna moment.
Edna Modement.
Yeah. Director Brad Bird. Like he's made some awesome movies. Also, Iron Giant. He made.
He did Iron Giant.
He did Iron Giant.
Wow.
Which I'd love to cover one day if someone has that one. But like he also made Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol.
Seriously?
He made that. Yeah.
Which number was that?
That's 4. That's the one where he climbs the Burj Khalifa with the sticky gloves.
Oh, I can picture that.
Yeah.
my
That's the
God.
one that he did.
Okay.
So yeah, this guy knows action. This guy knows animation.
All I know about him currently is I saw a tweet on Twitter that said that he's in director's jail right now. Is that true?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, he hasn't come out with anything recently, I don't think. Oh, you know what? I think he also directed Ratatouille.
Seriously?
I can check that. I think he
Wow.
did. But yeah.
Some classics.
Edna
right there.
Mode, yeah. Brad Bird. He made Ratatouille.
Wow.
Yep.
Back to Edna though. She's great. It's interesting because like technically like she doesn't need to be there.
No, but
But-
she's fun to have there.
Well,
Well, actually, no,
also-
she does need to be there.
Yeah, because obviously making the suits, but also she's the reason that Helen like gets involved
And finds
in the
Bob.
plot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, I like her, and there's also a theory that she made Syndrome's.
oh really?
Syndrome's costume and put a cape on there on purpose.
Oh, that's a good theory. I like that.
That's just a theory.
Add that to the Pixar theory.
I think it's a pretty well-known theory, though.
I haven't heard that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So let's move on to scenes now.
Okay.
You mentioned Project Kronos.
Yeah, that is by far my favorite scene in the movie.
It's so dark, but so well.
And I think like, yeah, as you said, it's dark. But for me, it's where the movie like really starts.
It does, because that's when you realize that you have a threat on your hands.
Yeah.
And it isn't just like, he's fighting the robot.
Yeah, because like before that, it's just like some average like revenge plot. But after this, like there's like serious stakes. I also, because I forgot about this until recently rewatching, that Helen finding out about what's going on happens during that scene.
It does, and it's the whole reason why he's caught. because his beeper, right?
Yeah.
His beeper goes off, and that alerts the security.
And I think there's one part where Edna goes like, "Do you want to know where he is?" And Helen goes, "Oh, I don't know," or something like that. And Edna goes, "Do you want to find out?" And that honestly gave me chills. I never thought an Edna Mode line would give me chills, but it did. And to top it all off, the score by
Michael Giacchino.
Yeah, Michael, always forget how to pronounce his last name. Giacchino is great. The little.
I mean, he's made bangers.
He has made
throughout his entire
so many bangers.
His entire career is stacked.
Up, Married Life.
Yes, he won Oscar for that one.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, he's done plenty of Pixar movies. I know
he did Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol.
Okay.
But also he got into directing recently.
Yeah.
Werewolf by Night.
Yeah. That was
him.
I really liked that. That was good.
I felt like that was the most original thing that Marvel's done in so long.
Yeah, it was fresh.
And the fact that it was Michael Giacchino just made it that much better.
And I guess that was like his directorial debut.
Yep.
That's that was really good. I know he does plenty of stuff for Marvel.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his Spider-Man theme. I know not a lot of people are. But I think it's good for like the kind of movie or the kind of Spider-Man that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the score, I guess we're on this topic now, is great. The like I don't know what the track is called, but from the scene where like things start going well for Bob, it's like da 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 da. I think that's great. I mean, it's a testament to how good this score is that like a ton of it has become memes.
Yeah, I really like I think it's the beginning or it's the end, and it's just the
Oh yeah, and then it cuts into the main theme.
Yeah,
that's great. There's just so much. Like the score is honestly awesome.
Yeah. Any other scenes that stick out to you? I have a couple that I really like.
Yeah, I mean, again, like the scene where everything's going right. That's really good. I like the Underminer scene a lot.
Behold, the Underminer.
I mean, as short as it is, I think it's great. And then like it pans back and it shows all them with the masks on,
except for Bob, which is cool because then he puts his on.
Oh
and that's
yeah,
how the movie
does
ends.
the Superman reveal. That's great.
I think that's really good. I really like the scene where they leave Syndrome's Island. I love it because they have the rocket.
Yeah.
And then Helen is just keeping it all together.
I completely forgot about that scene until I rewatched it.
And then the fact that they're just driving like a normal family, it's like, yeah, take this road. No, they'll run into too much traffic. No, we gotta go this way.
And they're just like destroying the highway. In that vein, the plane crash scene, I really like.
That's really cool.
Especially Dash when he goes, "We're dead. We're dead. We're alive, but we're dead." I love that.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the best section of this entire movie is probably when they all meet in the jungle.
Oh.
That is the best section of this entire movie,
that
I believe.
Iconic like shot where they all pose up. I love that.
And then when they all work together, it's so good.
And it's like,
and also you got Syndrome going, "You sly dog, you got me monologuing."
And I love the line where he's like, "You married Elastigirl, and you got busy." I love that. That is so great. I love Syndrome so much.
It's such an adult joke, but like it goes over.
Like it went over my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's great.
Yeah, and then you got Violet and Dash working together in like the hamster ball.
Oh yeah.
And then you got Dash run on water.
That was in my notes. That scene's great.
That's also an awesome score.
Because he's running, eyes closed, then he realizes like, wait a minute,
and you get
I can do this. And then once he realizes he can do it, he goes ham.
And that laugh is so pure too.
Oh yeah, that is great. Like that was honestly, in my opinion, one of the most like visually beautiful scenes of the movie.
It's like running on water with just the design of those freaking blade saucers were so cool.
Oh yeah, I love the scene where he runs into the cave, and then the one on the one side, other on the other side, and then he's cornered. He
just stops. That just lets him drop, and it's like, oh, it's perfect.
That's great. Like stuff like that scene you wouldn't find in a modern Pixar movie.
Yeah, I mean, like
Regardless of how nice animation can get.
like you need to have the creativity behind the scenes first.
Yeah.
And Brad Bird 100% did.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, he storyboarded out this whole thing maybe like 3 times. Like
I'd imagine, yeah.
For the Iron Giant, he took so long. Like he was like minute in every detail he had.
Huh. So he did direct the second one, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
But you know, it might not even be the creatives. It might just be Pixar in general.
That's true. It is a very modern Pixar movie.
I mean, this is in the Chapek era, I believe.
Was it?
It was either Chapek or the end of the Iger.
It might have been late Iger.
It might have been transitional period.
Yeah. I'll say this now. I was like holding this in for a while. Incredibles 2 on its own is a fine movie.
Yeah, but stacked up to Incredibles 1.
The fact that it's a sequel to Incredibles 1 kind of just makes it look kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll give it that.
Yeah. Yeah, you obviously got that. And then you got, you know, the fight in the end. That's also awesome.
Oh, you mean like the Omnidroid fight?
Omnidroid fight, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The other one's not really a fight.
Yeah, it's kind of Jack just going to town.
Yeah, and then, you know, just Frozone joining the fight.
Frozone's awesome. I will say one thing I really did like from the second one is that he's like much more in the action. Like he's part of the plot.
I mean, he's part of the family, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think, well, like even though Frozone isn't in a ton of this movie, like he steals the scenes when he does.
The one thing everyone knows from this entire movie, even if you haven't watched it, is honey,
where's
my super suit?
Where is my super suit?
The fate of the world is in my hands. The fate of your marriage is in this dirt.
I love that they commit to never showing his wife.
Yeah.
Like that commit to the bit. Have you seen that, like, it was like viral a couple years ago? Someone matched up that scene to the post-credits scene of Infinity War, also starring Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
And it almost lines up perfectly down to the helicopter crash.
Yeah, it does.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Yeah. And then obviously I love the ending where the end of Syndrome, I should say.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he's got Jack. I could throw the car. You might hit the baby. Throw me. It's not the fact that he throws Helen. It's the fact that after Helen gets Jack, you see the car just go flying out.
Yeah. That was really good.
And I just love that metaphor of him it was a sports car. It's him throwing away like his midlife crisis.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
I love that because now he's fully dedicated to the family, and that just seals it.
Yeah. And then, that was totally wicked.
That was totally wicked.
That kid's great.
Yeah.
I love the scene where he's like, just waiting for something cool.
I don't know, just waiting for something cool.
And then Bob goes, "Me too, kid."
Oh,
I relate to that so deeply.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie's great.
There's so many iconic scenes.
I think what's so great about this movie is the time period it's set in, which makes it, I think, feel timeless in a sense.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because, I mean, aside from maybe the opening, like the first few minutes, there's nothing that necessarily ties it directly into that time period.
I mean, yeah, but also I think like it's in that time period, but it's not exactly that time period.
Yeah,
it's more of a retro futuristic, you know.
That's a good way to put it.
Like all the architecture and technology just feels so ahead of its time.
Yeah, and then there's like Syndrome, all his stuff. Like Syndrome is like a 21st century villain. He's
a 21st century man in the 20th century.
Exactly. He was born in the wrong generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think
he would have read it if he just waited a generation.
He just waited 15 more years. Well, probably more than that.
Probably more.
It's like 50s, 60s.
Yeah. Yeah.
That definitely helps. Helps fit into the Pixar theory too.
Yeah, it definitely does. Also, there's a character we haven't talked about yet.
Okay.
Who's also very important, but also very overlooked in this movie is Mirage.
Yeah.
The one that basically reels in Bob in the first place.
Yeah, no, she definitely at least early. Well, actually, like throughout the whole movie, she's important.
She is, but like I feel like no one talks about her.
Yeah, it's just because as the movie progresses, more and more characters like go into the spotlight. So because of that, she's kind of like forced into just like being the one who gets Mr. Incredible free, or just like kind of being in the background helping out.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's a very interesting character though, and how like she kind of just works for herself.
She does, but she also works for Syndrome.
Yeah, but then when she realizes like
What he's about to do.
he was, and also that he was fully ready to like let her die.
Oh yeah, when
That
when
was-
when Mr. Incredible
That
tries
was the
to
big
kill her.
turning point, yeah.
Can you believe Mr. Incredible almost killed someone?
He didn't have the guts.
Mm.
If it was me in there,
What are you saying there?
don't worry about it.
Okay. Also, just the end of her character is just so, like it's hard to realize that it's her when I was a kid, but she's the one who's like, how about a rocket?
Yeah. Is that her last scene?
That's her last scene.
Huh. I remember, and I hate that we keep going back to the second one, but I remember going into the second one thinking, like, she's going to come back and have a big role.
No.
Does not appear once.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're definitely right that she's overlooked. She's just, like, mysterious. Like, you just don't know anything about her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that just reminded me of the scene where they're having dinner in the big room. That wall of lava,
Oh.
breathtaking.
That's
That is such a beautiful image.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
of them just with the backdrop of lava. Just
Yeah. That lava wall gives me so much, like, anxiety, though. The scene where he has to, like,
where he's.
slide through. Like, realistically...
I don't think it's real lava though,
Really?
because I'm pretty sure doesn't that leads to the Kronos thing, right?
Oh, yeah. It
'Cause-
leads, like, directly to it.
Because actually, you know what? I think it is real lava. Because like when the lights come on, I think the lava's still there, right? I think he's making his way to the lava.
Oh. Yeah. So I guess there's two rooms?
I think once
Or-
the lava ends, I think that's where the
Okay.
cannons come up.
With the balls.
Balls.
Those weird balls. Those
Weird
really-
sticky goo balls.
Oh, this creeped me out.
Yeah, because they grew.
Yeah.
Like it was like him being suffocated was so scary.
That was disgusting. And
Yeah.
then, like, as he's, like, passing out, you just see Mirage walk up. Like, that's a creepy shot.
Yeah. So we touched on this a little bit with the car, but I think you also touched on this in the intro, but just the themes of this movie, of how it really showcases like just family dynamics and values,
Yeah.
and also just like a midlife crisis.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's very human. It's very real. I think the fact that they were able to, like, include those in a story about superheroes, that's very impressive. That no superhero movie could probably, like, come to that level.
I think Fantastic Four could. It just on a different level, not like kids, but like they're probably the Marvel superhero family.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there hasn't been, like, a amazing Fantastic Four movie.
There hasn't, but hopefully there is. They'll come one.
Hope so, yeah.
I mean I did like the original too. Like I'm partial to them. Like they're not the best thing, but they're just fun
They're the best Fantastic Four movies.
that we have.
Yeah, because besides that, there's an unreleased 90s film.
Yeah,
then
and then there's
Fan Four Stick.
Fan Four Stick.
On the topic of Fantastic Four, though,
Yeah.
we're still talking about Incredibles here, obviously, but it took me years to realize that they're kind of just like,
The same.
yeah, aside from Dash, but I mean,
I mean-
speedsters are so common.
Dash and Human Torch were kind of the same thing though. Just
That's true.
they were the ones that were always moving.
Yeah,
But also you had Frozone, just the opposite.
yeah, that's true. Frozone is a very unique character, but I mean,
Doctor Doom having his own country, Syndrome having his own island.
now that I think about it, Syndrome is just like Doctor Doom if he had Reddit.
I think Doctor Doom is a wizard though.
Is he?
I think so.
I just thought he was rich.
I think he is, but I think he also mastered mystical arts.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very, very similar, but
but he's a tech wizard in Incredibles.
yeah, they're different enough that it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So, but it was very funny when I realized that, and also funny how long it took me to realize that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I also really like the family values in the final Omnidroid battle,
Yeah,
and just the idea that they all kind of did their own thing like a family would.
yeah, and it still is messy. Like, it's the like, Like when Bob's like, press the button. No, press that button again.
Press the other button. What are you waiting for? It's not ready yet. It is ready.
Yeah, so it like barely came together, but it did.
Because yeah, that's what the family does.
Yeah, so I think that was a really good reflection of it.
I also like, the keep away with the remote.
Yeah.
Like how
was really
Violet
cool.
just went invisible. Was like, oh, I don't want to touch it. I don't want it. Someone else take it.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Crumble going, go long.
Oh yeah, the callback to the football scene.
The
from
football
earlier.
scene. And then Frozone shows up.
Oh yeah, I like Frozone being part of the family.
Frozone being,
like,
because he really is the dad's best friend that
Yeah, he's
really is just there all the time.
he's like the uncle.
He's
I know,
he's the uncle.
I think in the second one they do call him like uncle.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so I think his dynamic with the family is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because the movie, at least the first half, feels like an entirely about Mr. Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But the second half, that family dynamic really becomes the central point.
Mm-hmm. Also, I never noticed this as a kid, but in the beginning where him and Frozone are like saving people, like doing superheroing,
Yeah.
and then he comes home and then she pulls off like the hair and the what's it called? No, not the hair. She pulls off the rubble.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's so much like where have you been? You've been having an affair kind of conversation, but it was it was just you've been superheroing
You've
again.
been saving lives?
You've been saving lives.
What?
What?
Yeah, that was really good. And then, I mean, well, there is, like, the hair later on where, like, that could suggest an affair.
The hair was on his super suit.
Yeah. That was a very... I was kind of surprised they didn't delve more into that. Like...
I mean, they did. That's why she went to Edna in the first place.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even when she saw them together, I feel like they kind of ended it quickly after that.
No, because she breaks down with Edna, and I think she says something along that like feels like she realizes that like she thinks he's having an affair or something. Like it seemed,
Okay, yeah.
it felt along the lines of that.
Yeah, I think that was a really cool parallel just in general, though, the affair and
Yeah.
superheroing.
Uh-huh.
So, that was cool.
Yeah, and also, you ever watched the Jack short, Jack Attack?
I have.
That came with the
not
DVD?
in a long time, but I have.
I love it. It's just the babysitter's viewpoint of
Yeah.
Jack. Jack's scary. When he turns into the devil kid,
Oh,
that's frightening.
nightmares when I was a kid.
Nightmares.
That was awful. I mean, Jack's interesting because he doesn't really have a character. He's like barely in the movie, but
He saves the day.
he has his scene. Yeah, he's a good baby.
Good baby. Yeah. There's one other thing I wanted. Oh yeah, and just another funny scene I was thinking of when Edna is showing Helen around her place, and then shows off the things she made for her kids.
Oh yeah, like
And then
the
we get the
bulletproof-
Jacks where he's just crawling
Just the
and like a
little crawl.
flamethrower.
Yeah. I forget. Yeah, that was really funny. That scene also scared me when I was younger.
Flames.
Just it was like very like visual and like in your face and scary
Uh-huh.
for like a 3-year-old.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about before we hop into final section?
I'm just gonna pull out my notes real quick. See if there's any.
What are your notes?
Yeah, I've had notes this whole time. That's embarrassing. Oh, one more thing. The attempted suicide. The funniest thing. One of the best lines of the movie. You didn't save my life, you ruined my death. So deep.
Yeah.
That was like, is that like back to how like this feels like a parody of the superhero genre? Like that's like a joke you'd think would come out of like The Boys or something.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a joke. I felt like that was just a very heavy line. Because that came back because the guy sues.
Yeah, I just think for me, I saw it as a joke because of the way that they framed it.
I didn't see it as a joke.
Interesting.
It's a very dark scene. Because I mean, he also that's the same room that Bon Voyage comes out.
Bon Voyage.
So yeah.
We're gonna have to cast Bon Voyage.
No, we're not casting Bon Voyage.
No one's cool enough to be Bon Voyage.
It's Connor.
God.
He's got the height. Yeah. So let's so on that note, let's get in the fan casts.
Okay.
I want you to go along. Tell me which characters we're fan casting.
Okay.
Because you have teased me all week saying you've had some heavy hitters.
I have some pretty thoughtful ideas.
I want you to save the heaviest hitters for last.
Okay. So
I want to have those go off immediately.
Let me just pull out because I did fan cast a little bit more than the expected roster of characters.
So what I'm thinking for fan cast is main 4.
Okay.
Syndrome, Frozone, Edna,
Yeah.
potentially Mirage.
Okay. I did Mirage.
Let's start with her.
Okay. Mirage, I said Karm.
Karma's
Which-
Mirage?
Yeah, a little bit of gender bending. Probably doesn't make sense.
I disagree.
But the reason I did it is because, as we said before, like, she's kind of mysterious. Like, kind of just working on her own agenda. But when the time comes, she does the right thing. And I think Karm could really pull that off, in my opinion. I think he could just, like, kind of be a little elusive. I think he would do a good job.
I think that Margot would do well in this role.
Okay.
Because, like, thinking of what I think Mirage looks like, I'm pretty sure I'm correct. I mean, I see Margot kind of in the animation a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
can see
especially,
that.
like, the face, I feel like.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, I think that she'd do well. There's one scene in particular where she's in the car spying on Frozone and Mr. Incredible on their night of
yeah.
superheroing. And I just got flashbacks to her in the car for Stick to the Plan.
Oh, my
Of
God.
her taking notes, hacking in.
Okay, yeah,
Like, I
see
feel like she could be the versatile side villain to Syndrome. I think she'd do well
Okay.
in that area.
All right, yeah, I could see that.
Oh, we forgot Jack Jack.
Oh, well, yeah, I have one for Jack Jack, too.
Jack Jack. Let's go Jack Jack.
So Jack Jack actually did take me a while to cast. I went with Demetrius.
I have Demetrius for something else.
So the reason I put Demetrius in is because Jack Jack's whole thing is you never know what to expect from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Demetrius can very much like embody that, how he'll randomly come out with like the greatest like edited video of all time out of nowhere. I think he could really he's just full of surprises. So that's my reasoning. What about you?
I think Isabella could do well here.
Okay.
Because Jack Jack for this entire movie, it's not you don't expect anything. It's not like he's unpredictable. It's more the fact that Jack Jack is a character that we think for the entire movie has no superpowers, and
Okay.
it's just a baby. And I feel like Isabella could play the I'm just a normal person. I'm like there's nothing special. And
Yeah.
at the end, she flips a switch, and all of a sudden it's just.
Okay.
I think that she could pull it off.
I did not see that, but I guess
Because, like, think about watching the movie the first time. You don't know Jack Jack has powers.
yeah.
Is kind of where I'm looking at that.
Okay.
But, I mean, yeah, yours could fit.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I just think he could pull it off.
All right. Who's the next tame pick that you have?
Next tame.
Who's the tamest pick you have?
So, I have a bit of a meme pick.
A meme pick?
I believe it's pronounced Mr. Huff.
Is
The
that
boss.
the boss that gets his neck broken after being thrown through
Yeah,
a
we
wall?
don't have to elaborate on this one much, but I casted myself in this.
I think Josh should be there.
I have plans for Josh.
Okay.
That's all we need.
Moving on.
Do we want to do Edna?
Edna now? Sure.
Okay,
Let's do
yeah.
Edna now.
So this will be very unexpected. I have Connor in this.
You have Connor here.
I think he could really pull it off. Obviously opposite heights, but just imagine like you go on like Google Docs or something, and you like stretch down a picture of Connor. He's like tiny and like widened out. I think I like pictured him doing the voice.
Quick note, Jacob's currently in the room right now, and he's dying in the corner right now after Tommy just explained the Google Sheets shrinking of Connor.
I think if you did it and like had him do the voice, he could really pull it off. I think Edna, when it comes to comedy, is the most demanding character. So
Okay, I have a pick for this.
Okay.
Who I believe this person can pull off the demanding role needed.
let's hear it.
I think this is Gianna's role.
Yeah, that was my other pick. I could definitely see Gianna doing that.
I think she would love this role. I think that she
Yeah.
would pop off. She'd kill it, I think.
Yeah, no, I could I can picture that. That was definitely my second choice. It's just after I had like the vision of Connor doing it, I was like, wow, like
All right.
this has to happen. Um,
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go down the line.
Okay.
Let's start Mr. Incredible. We'll move our way through the family.
Okay.
And end with Syndrome.
So Mr. Incredible, this is my one alumni pick.
I mean, okay.
I put Brad in here. I do have an alternate pick.
I
of a
think
current-
Brad is the perfect pick.
I just like imagining. Obviously, he's an accountant. As an accountant myself, or a future accountant, I can speak on this. It's boring, so I can imagine him like his glory days or his days at VTV, and he's sitting in the accounting firm just thinking, "Remember when I was in Stick to the Plan?" But now he's just doing accounting. But then when we ask him to come back, that's like Mirage asking Mr. Incredible to come
Carm
back.
asking.
So I just think and Brad could pull off a lot of like the mannerisms. So yeah, I just think he's a great pick. My alternate pick actually is Jacob. I think he could pull it off pretty well. Also in VSB, which might signal a trend.
I think for my pick is you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're my pick.
Interesting.
As much as I think that you're growing into a Bob.
I definitely think so too. As I said before, I'm like becoming him.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine
Yeah.
that.
Elastigirl.
Elastigirl. Okay. I looked at Elastigirl as kind of the one who's holding everything together and kind of being a leader. So obviously it's Lexi.
Obviously.
Yeah, like president of VTV, gotta represent.
Knows when to take charge.
Exactly. Like she can be pretty lax, but Elastigirl, like when the time comes, takes charge.
Yeah.
When no one else does.
Yeah.
So
Like
yeah.
ending scene, like as we mentioned, like her being thrown, her also controlling the remote.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
can we just note the fact that they're fighting over a remote, like a TV remote,
Oh
like a
my God.
family would?
That's genius.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Next, let's go to Violet.
Okay. Violet. So my main idea. This took me a little bit.
I
Just
got
wanna
one.
Make
I was
sure.
thinking about this on the walkover.
I had for Violet. I had Zoe.
You had Zoe.
I just think that she could pull off like the kind of I guess secluded little edgy vibes, but also the charisma that Violet shows off later on in the movie. I just think based on vibes she could really do well. Why are you smiling?
Because I had my pick geared up.
Okay.
I think Demetrius could do this.
Oh my God.
I think Demetrius could pull off. I'm thinking back to when she made the force field for the first time. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just did it.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think he very much would be like the quiet one who would then all of a sudden be like, that's it. I have force fields. I'm invisible. Wah.
I could work with this. Yeah. No, I actually can see that.
Yeah.
I still would rather have him as Jack, but
Mhm.
I can see the vision.
Let's move on to Dash now.
Okay, so Dash, obviously very young, has a lot of untapped potential. I went for Aiden with this, but I also think Finn could work.
I think out of those two, I think Finn would be better.
Okay.
Better suited. My pick for this, I just lost it again. I had it in my head. Where'd it go? Oh, I got it.
All right.
Daniel.
Yeah, I actually can see that.
I think Daniel would do great as Dash.
Both start with D to start off. Yeah, I guess just like in thinking freshman's an easy thing to look at just because like they're newer. They have a lot. Again, as I said, of potential that's like waiting to be unlocked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's for Dash. I mean, I don't really think any of them are like cocky like Dash is, but you never know.
Yeah. And then finally, we have Syndrome. You've been teasing me this whole time. I'm going to say mine, and we're going to end.
You forgot Frozone.
Oh, I did forget Frozone.
Yeah.
Ah, Samuel. Frozone. Who do you have for Frozone?
I had Gianna in this.
You had Gianna's Frozone?
I just think like she could pull off the vibes, like acting all cool, but then like the second like things go wrong, kind of freaks out. I think she could just pull that off really well.
I think I would put... Who would I put in this role, actually? Oh, I know who I'd put. I'd put Chamberlain in this role.
Okay.
He's someone who will come in and
Just shows up. Yeah.
act all cool, get it 'cause ice,
Oh.
and be just very integral to like certain things.
Yeah, he gets the job done.
Like his recent TikToks, like
Yeah.
taking charge of those.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
could
like
see
Frozen coming in at the final act,
Just randomly showing up.
randomly showing up. Yeah. And now Syndrome.
Okay.
So my pick for Syndrome, I think, would be Jacob.
Interesting.
I think Jacob would do a good Syndrome.
I could see it.
I could see him being the over the top.
Yeah,
at the end.
pulling off like all the flamboyant energy that Syndrome has.
Mm-hmm. I could also see Finn in this role as well, because after
Okay.
his role in Marriage Pact, I think he could pull off the earlier
Yeah.
the buddy,
Yeah,
and
I can
then,
see that.
and then grow into Syndrome throughout the movie.
I can picture that. Syndrome, I feel like a lot of people can fall under.
Yeah.
But for my pick, so for Syndrome, I have you. I was thinking about it. The Rat Baby sketch in the Christmas Spectacular,
Yeah.
where you had that like little kid voice, like, only I can get that gift. I think that just gives off so much Syndrome energy. Like, it was so good. Like, I think you could just pull off like the like vengeful supervillain thing that like doesn't really know what he's doing and it's kind of just flying around, like the scene where he flails around. I think you could pull that off so well.
How'd you know I have read it?
It was implied.
Yeah.
But I said, so the reason I was hyping up Syndrome so much is because that's not where it ends.
Huh?
I have Josh as Buddy, a.k.a. Incrediboy.
So Josh grows into me?
Yes. I technically double casted the role. I think Josh can pull off the buddy energy so much, being like hopeful and optimistic, but then like showing that anger when like he's wronged. And I think you could pull off like the older Syndrome energies. I was so proud of this casting. I don't know if it's technically legal because
It's fair.
it's two people playing one role, but I just think it's perfect.
I mean, you casted my son as younger me. That
Exactly.
works.
He grows into you.
So I think that's it.
I'm
Right.
pretty sure that's all.
And on the banger of generational syndrome.
I was so happy when I came up with that.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a great one.
Thank
Great
you.
pick.
Thank you.
Great picks all around, I think.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's all for Film Flav. All for Film Faves
Film
this week. Film Flav.
Flav.
Film Flavor Flav. That's all for this week. Again, sorry for the one camera, but we're short on equipment and time, so that's what we got for this week. Next week we should be back to normal. We're gonna have Jacob on talking about Now You See Me.
Ooh.
So a little bit of magic there. And one last note. Go check out Spotify now because we got a couple episodes up now. I believe just look up Film Favs. Jacob is telling me episodes 1, 2, and 3 are out. Yeah, so you can
Exciting.
re-listen, rewatch also Lexi, Gianna, and Aiden's Film Faves now on Spotify. Let's go check it out.
Of course. And then when mine goes up, you can watch it 100 times.
Hell yeah. All right. So long. Logo.
Farewell.